We are recording this 2 seconds after an earthquake just basically hit here. So,
Yeah.
auspicious start.
I mean,
क्या ही और
the auspicious start happened when Varun joined briefly to talk to us before that also. So, Varun,
Odd
for
only
whoever
that
is not
Varun
familiar.
leaving caused the earthquake also.
Yeah.
I would like to think that's connected.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Everything is connected. Just like what we're going to
yes,
talk about today, isn't it?
just like what we are going to talk about today.
Yeah.
No, but I would like to take over the intro at least for this,
Yep.
because I have been slacking, to put it mildly,
Yeah.
primarily because I have been busy. So
Mm.
I've been slacking on the genre literacy front, and
Mm-hmm.
also there's the little bit about me starting a YouTube channel which has currently 92 subscribers, and I'm like,
Mm.
इतना लोग कौन है जो सुनने वाला है मुझे? But ठीक है भाई, you
Hey,
people are
sir, it's
listening, good
good.
only.
Yeah.
It's good only. I don't have
Yeah.
high expectations only, so from that front, it's fine. So
Yeah. Best to
even if
keep
I'm
low
going to take into
expectations, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think someone commented on your thing, which I think is a very backhanded compliment about something about high. I didn't get to watch actually your high and low review, but highest to
Highest to
lowest
lowest call.
review. Yeah, but someone you had posted a comment. Someone had said about someone going to the low, the depths of YouTube to find out
To
the
find the
truth.
true opinion of these movies,
Well, firstly, I
basically.
just wanted to like caveat a bunch of that just because I don't know how much of this will go into the podcast, but firstly, true opinion isn't there as such for films just because, it's subjective and all that stuff. And
Objectivity is a myth anyway.
yeah,
Objectivity is a
especially
myth
when it
anyway.
comes to film reviewing. But, anyways, I feel because there is no pressure of appeasing to anyone and, want, of course, we want reach. ऐसा नहीं है कि we don't want a significant reach or whatever, but there's no like kowtowing to like a certain type of group or person who wants a certain type of opinion or anything. We are saying what we feel. If that's what
Hmm.
feels truthful, then that's good because I think that's the point from us at least.
Hmm.
There's no like
Hmm.
sugarcoating, I think, from any of us. I
I
think
think I
that
think
people are
most
well
people
and truly aware of.
I think most people don't like the fact that we all, like, quote unquote, true film reviewing or true film criticism always lies somewhere in the middle between extremes. Like,
Yeah.
and current internet like discourse thrives in extremism.
Yeah.
It's either the greatest thing ever or it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
There is no in between. Like,
Yeah.
one bad movie can have good stuff in it,
Of course.
or one good movie can have bad stuff in it. Nobody has time to explore all that.
Yeah.
They just want to hear the opening salvo. I like this movie. আমার না মুভিটা ভালো লেগেছে। This movie is good. Or
Yeah.
they want to hear the closing salvo. So in conclusion, I would like to give this movie 4.5 star. I would like to
Yeah.
give this movie two and a
Should
half
we
star.
should
You
we get
shouldn't
that
spend your
over with
ticket.
before? Should we get that
Yes.
over with before we start talking about the films only today? Just because if we
Yes.
are wanting to appeal to a certain audience, let's be very
Mm.
transparent in what our ratings
Uh,
and what and I think the reason I'm not like above quote unquote ratings is because I think it's just a way in which I
It's
uh,
reductive.
yeah, I'm
It's
like
just
it's fine.
reductive in a
It's
way.
fun. It becomes a sort of fun metric as long as it doesn't
Hmm.
become our entire review. That that my rating
Yes,
is
yes,
four and a
yes.
half stars and that is the review. No, that isn't. I mean, there's more to it.
That
I
isn't.
think
That isn't.
we feel comfortable in doing the ratings because they're just a fun metric as opposed to a sort of way of
Yeah.
substituting for whatever we think entirely. So
But again, this episode which we are currently recording is going, I mean, the plan is
yeah,
it is going into the YouTube, into my YouTube channel, into the genre literacy podcast feed, as well as it is going to the Queen is Dead podcast feed,
yeah,
because that has been kind of sort of my intention, because we have done the bunch of these episodes, like
hmm.
deep dive episodes, and any episode that I'm doing with Dhruv or any of the other co-hosts of Queen is
Hmm.
Dead, I would like that feed to also get these things done, and vice
Yeah.
versa.
This is what,
So
part
from that
three,
front,
part four of a Japanese cinema thing that we did. I don't know how many parts
yes,
has
yes, yes.
been
I
there.
think
Yeah,
there's the Rashomon
that's the
in the realm of the
introduction.
senses. That's
Yeah,
the introduction. That
yeah.
was one weird introduction. But then there,
I still think the Rashomon discussion me, Amartya, and Anurag had. is one of the best discussions we've had, I think, on
Yes, yes,
our
yes.
podcast recording. I thought that was really wonderful. But yeah,
That was really very good.
like I know
Then I
praising
think we
myself,
had
but like
the
fine, whatever.
uh,
Sorry. Yeah.
then I think we had the didn't we have the Perfect Blue and couple of
That never got
other
released, I think. That was
that
the one
never
that
got
never got
released. Yeah,
released. Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
the
we
J
had
horror episode.
yeah, that never got released. Masaki Kobayashi's thing got released.
Yeah, that
The
was
R
one
much
expensive episode which broke both of us in a way because we were like,
samurai, right?
"Oh
Yeah,
God, yeah, yeah." We
yeah,
it broke both of us in a way, and
yeah,
then we
yeah.
did the Seven Samurai
Yeah.
episode, which was the first genre literacy episode that came out on
Yeah.
my channel, and now we are doing this. So if we are going to appeal to a wider range of audiences, might as well just introduce ourselves. So
Yeah.
it would be better in a way. So
Yeah.
hi, this is Amartya Acharya, quote unquote film critic, quote unquote Japanese movie lover, quote
Mhm.
unquote person who likes to talk, just doesn't like to talk alone to the void, which is why I think I'm going to stop solo film reviewing for a while, at least on
Sure.
video in a
Yeah.
way. So there's one, and of course, one of the co-hosts of Queen is Dead podcast, in
Yes.
to which Dhruv
Absolutely.
is one of the primary candidates.
Yeah.
Dhruv.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Amartya. Yeah, I mean, what to introduce? I mean, I think most of the audience we will reach to knows us already, but if it does reach to anyone else, then yeah, this is Dhruv. My name is Dhruv Krishna Goyal, and we've been running a podcast for what, 2.5 years now, like fairly
Oh
dedicatedly.
yeah. Hmm.
And if you like to hear more in depth about films, then yeah, the time we dedicate to discussing these films, like there's enough of the time in the middle that probably should be edited out because it is a lot of nonsense, fun nonsense, but nonsense. And but the rest of it, I think we are very, at least attempting to dedicatedly discuss films in a way which I don't think I see very often in YouTube or mainstream channels, especially on a sort of podcast form. But if there are, I know there are some podcasts that do it in a similar way. Like I think Film Spotting is what I know of, and a couple of others. And I know I think the Big
And
Picture
I'm
Show and all
and
that
I
stuff.
would like to and I would like to
Hmm.
brag just slightly. I think we do carry some of the bona fides for it in a way because
Hmm.
unlike most people who are just speaking out of their proverbial behinds,
Hmm.
we kind of sort of don't do that. We at least
Yeah.
have something to carry forward, like Dhruv's bona fides, at least in terms of his studies and everything,
Yeah.
and our co-host Sanjeet, me, thoda bahut, at least I
Yeah.
have done some work. So it's
Yeah.
like, theek hai, chalo.
Yeah,
In
and then
that
there's
scenario, I think
Chris, our token queer,
token queer,
representative.
yes,
So
token
yeah,
representation.
because that's how we operate, right? So exactly.
At this point,
Anyways,
everybody operates like that. Yes, yes, yes.
no, no.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
I know Chris will listen to this. So Chris, of course, we're joking. You know that. If you
yes,
don't,
yes.
then you
No,
also
but
know
at
that
the end
it's
of the
okay.
day, no, but at the end of the day, we believe that we are passionate enough to talk about films without being arrogant enough to look down upon the other people who aren't talking about films or who don't
I
have
mean, it's a
enough
different
knowledge
style, I
enough
think,
knowledge
right? I
about
think
it. Yes.
it's a difference. I think if you want to, I guess the only issue we have, I think, with sometimes, and I think we've called people out. I think Amartya has done more so than me. I'm less on. Like I think I'm,
Oh yeah, because
yeah.
because in this podcasting group, I am the most vociferous one, literally,
Yeah, I
because I
mean
am the
you
one
and I think
who has.
Varun and Chris. I think are the very. I mean Sanjeet likes everything and everyone because he wants work in the industry, which is fair enough.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
his bread and
fair enough.
butter. But
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, I mean I'm.
Sanjeet, upon hearing this, is going to message us immediately. But anyway,
Yeah, but it's true. I mean,
continue.
he loves even Cookie Gulati, who directed Prince, and
And
Jewel
Rohit
Thief,
Shetty Singham 3 and Rohit
and
Shetty
Rohit.
Singham 3.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but no, no. But I think the only knock at least I have against some people is that if you're going to position yourself as being very informative and very analytical about cinema, then if I watch it, I don't know if I will watch it, but if I do watch it, I hope to find insight in it, which I think I would say, like, your Thomas Flights and your like stories we tell or something. I forget the channel's name, but it's a wonderful
Even
channel.
Sean Fantasy's even Sean Fantasy and
Sean
Amanda Dobbins's
Fantasy.
Big Picture.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
or
these. If you're positioning yourself as that and you're proving that, then I think that's enough. I think if you're positioning yourself as that and then still providing surface level stuff is where I'm like, I don't know if I can, like, I don't give credence to stuff like
which
that.
again I would like to point out, which again I would like to point out very simply, it's not that we are like we are deriding of box office numbers or anything. We understand what the business
Yeah,
is. We understand box office is important for business. We are not going to make a business out of it by bringing in
yeah,
box office, or we are not going to base our entire analytics and criticism on box office. If that
yeah.
makes us, I don't know what that makes us. That's just who we
No,
are.
I mean we are not.
I
We are
gen-
talking about art in a more, I guess, quote unquote, purer sense. Like the analytics, after a point, like to me, they are interesting, but have no
hmm,
bearing on a film's quality, more or less. I
no.
think. So it's especially nowadays, everything is so marketing driven that a lot of stuff just does well because it is well marketed, etc., etc.
At
We've
least they
talked about
open
long
well.
legs and all that. Open well, yeah,
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 yeah. At least they open well, but
and
then they
yeah,
crash. I
yeah.
truly believe that. So
Yeah. So yeah, I
there's
mean,
something.
all that
Okay,
stuff
so
is just a precursor for
all that stuff is
nonsense, but
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's not a
Mm.
topic of discussion at all. Yeah.
And to basically cater to all the masses who might or might not just watch this video. Uh, as for our quote unquote rating purposes, what we think, we are talking about Akira Kurosawa's High and Low,
Yes.
1963 movie, and 2025's Highest to Lowest, directed by Spike Lee, which is very much so an adaptation of Kurosawa's High and Low and Ed McMahon's novel King's Ransom, which is the source material for both these movies. So
Yeah.
if we are going to say whether you guys should watch this or not, High and Low, you should absolutely watch it.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I have one or two issues with it, but
Sure.
I genuinely believe people should watch it.
Yeah.
I think Dhruv will agree to with me on the same
Yeah, yeah.
portion.
If you want the
Hi,
rating stuff, I have 4.5, but I also have like a great affection for the film. Like again, if
yeah,
anyone's interested in film form, you can just watch the
yeah,
first hour,
especially.
I think. So, I mean, it's like, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
And highest to lowest, I believe this is one of Spike Lee's most exasperating movies. I have reviewed it. It's in my channel.
yeah,
Not a lot of people have seen it, which is okay. Even a
yeah,
commenter has said it. Not a lot of
yeah,
people has seen it, which I'm like, okay, man, cool.
yeah,
Anyway, I have given it a 3 out of 5. I believe that it is really, really exasperating, but it has some good stuff. But
yeah.
it ultimately doesn't have much of anything to say
Sure.
beyond the
Yeah,
certain
I
thing.
think I'm on a,
That's it.
weirdly enough, Amartya and me are not often on similar pages, but I am pretty much on a very similar page to Amartya with the Spike Lee remake or whatever reinterpretation or whatever you want to sell it as. And
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's a curious film. It's not without
Its
especially as
merits.
a adaptation and like, or whatever you want to say, a reworking of that sort of 1963 world into the 2025 world, and a change in, of course, the setting from America to Japan and what that entails and all that stuff. I think there's a lot of interesting things in it. It is at times absolutely shambolic, I think, and at other times, I think very like one. Well, not at other times, at two times in the whole film, sublime, and
It
apart
is
from that, quite
extraordinary.
interesting. Yeah, I think there's
Extraordinary. When it
two
works,
scenes.
when
I
it
think,
works in
yeah,
those two scenes, it's
yeah.
extraordinary when it is working.
And I
Which
think
is why it is
we don't even need to reveal
exasperating that
which
it
two
doesn't
scenes are there
work throughout.
because, yeah, but I think we
Yeah,
don't even need to reveal the two scenes because it is so evident those two scenes are operating on a totally different quality
different
level to the
regime.
rest of the film. So, yeah. Anyways, interesting film,
Yeah,
even though we both are fairly, exasperated by it. Uh,
exasperated.
yeah,
Now that the opening scenes are out of the way, interested people, please watch. Thank you for watching.
yeah.
Let's move on now.
Yep.
Let's
And
begin this
and
shit.
and I think it's fair now that we can just like we can drop spoilers and all that also, right? No?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
I
that
think
fine?
it is
Yep.
fair. High and low. If people haven't seen, why haven't you seen? Please watch.
Yeah.
Uh, highest to
It's
lowest.
on
If people haven't seen, it's
Criterion
streaming
if
on
people,
FLT. Yeah.
yeah,
High and low is on Criterion. Highest to lowest is
and
on Apple
everywhere
TV Plus,
else, yeah,
and
and
everywhere
everywhere
else.
else,
Yes.
yeah, 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 both. We've done enough table setting, I think now. We could move
Yes.
on to
Yes.
the actual discussion. But yeah, we begin high and low, right? 1963,
Yes. We
Akira
begin high and
Kurosawa.
low. Yeah. 19.
Um,
Akira Kurosawa.
yeah.
Oh
Go ahead,
boy.
Amartya. I mean, where do we start with this behemoth? I think I'm not table setting here because you've kind of introduced that it's already based on the. I've written Evan Hunter. I think that's his real name. I think his pen name is
Evan
Ed.
Hunter is his Ed McMahon is his pen name. Evan Hunter
Yeah.
is his actual name,
So that's
basically. Yeah.
King's Ransom it's based on, right? And I think I'll just mention the plot I have noted down from IMDb is that, and it's very concise, which I think is quite nice, even though the film itself is becomes more and more expansive. The
Yes.
plot here is an executive of a Yokohama shoe company becomes a victim of extortion when his chauffeur's son is kidnapped by mistake and held for ransom. So very concise. That is the plot, and then everything unfolds from there on. Um, and yeah, where to start with this? This to me, weirdly enough, I'm just going to start on this note because this comparison struck me because we have talked about this other film also. This struck to me as like the other monumental or big film for like your police procedural, and in that case it was the serial killer M, Fritz Lang's M, in some
Hmm.
ways, where it's like, uh, to me there's a lineage from that to this in some ways. And in like to me it's like that's the big text for a lot of the noirs that follow and a lot of the serial killer films that have followed. And this to me becomes, I don't know if it's a, like in some ways a text for some of, again we've talked about Friedkin's work, so the procedural is so in this
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
like important, like it leads into some of like Friedkin stuff. And then I think like just the template of it is so unique, the narrative template is so unique, it's like wonderfully structured, like you want to like break apart every piece of this film just because it's so wonderfully constructed on a simply sort of filmic level that yeah, I mean, again, you say whatever your sort of impressions of it are. I'm surprised that you actually are a little lower than me on this because I thought you would be on a higher I mean lower and higher we're going to keep on repeating, so yes, whatever pun that
Yeah, yeah, we are going to keep
deals
on
with
repeating.
it.
No, I
Yeah.
think no, I think I agree with you in that it's a term we both like to use is sort of like a city symphony. This is kind of
Yeah.
like a societal symphony in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and again, it's like exploring through visual language
Yeah.
simplicities verve in complex fashion. That's what it is
Yeah.
doing, right? High class, higher end people, they live on top of a hilltop.
Yeah.
Lower class, lower economic strata, they live below line.
Yeah.
And as the exploration goes more and more forward, we see the story going lower and lower and
Yeah.
lower and lower.
Yeah.
And high and low, the term itself is simplistic because it's the American interpretation of the actual term for this movie in
Oh
Japanese, which
yeah.
is basically heaven and
Heaven
hell.
and hell. Yeah. Yeah.
The movie
Absolutely.
itself is heaven and hell. I think it's also because in a way it is evoking Greek mythology also, because
Hmm.
the gods lived on Mount Olympus,
Hmm.
literal top of a mountain.
Yeah.
And the humans would look upon the gods and scoff at derision,
Yeah.
because they would be like, what do they know about us?
Yeah, and I
So
mean
in a way,
his name is Gondo. So like Kingo is, and
Gondo,
I
yeah,
think the King's Ransom is the novel, right? So King
is
is
the
another
novel.
term where it's sort of like the God's King, whatever you want to say, like that
Hmm.
sort of thing.
Yeah. So in a scenario like this, I think, look, if we think about it, we need to start from the original source. I just finished
Mm-hmm.
the source
Yeah, you
novel,
read it.
which is
Yes,
Ed
yes.
McMahon's
Mm,
Ed McMahon's King's Ransom.
mm,
It's the 10th novel of a series of novels called the 87th Precinct novels, which are all
mm-hmm.
procedural novels.
Mm-hmm.
The novel is very short.
Yep.
Okay, the novel is actually very short because it took me 90 minutes to read and finish it.
Sure.
So
Mm,
it is very short.
Hmm.
The thing about the novel is that it is exploring 1959 societal structure, but there is also a shade of melodrama to it. Like the
Hmm.
kidnappers were there in the novel.
Hmm.
There's a kidnapping team. There are
Okay.
two guys and there is one woman.
Hmm.
The woman actually, when the kid is kidnapped, the woman is given the charge to take care of the kid,
Okay.
and her husband is the one, her husband and their accomplices are the one who are essentially tasked with calling David King in the novel
Hmm.
and threatening him basically.
Hmm.
The protagonist of the novel is not David King. The protagonist of the novel is Steve Carella, Detective Steve
Sure.
Carella, one of the detectives of 87 Precinct,
Hmm.
whose character in a way is played by Tatsuya
That's one.
Nakadai
Okay. Hmm.
in our High and Lows movie,
Yeah.
right? So, but David King is also quote unquote the protagonist because David King is the person around whom the plot actually rests.
And
And
this all takes place
interesting
in New
bit of
York. Just
this all takes
asking.
place in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, this all takes place in New York.
Hmm.
So the what I genuinely found interesting was how much of an intimate familial storyline this movie actually is about, because this
Hmm.
movie very much is about not just King's own dilemma,
Hmm.
the moral dilemma that faces King when
Hmm.
this plot actually kicks in that King's son is believed to be kidnapped and King is being held for ransom during a
Hmm.
very critical time in his business when he's trying to do a leverage buyout of the company he has
Yeah.
worked for in his whole life.
Yeah.
But then he learns that the kid who has been kidnapped is not his son but his chauffeur's son,
Yeah.
and now he has a decision to make as to whether he should pay the ransom or not. Now, unlike the movie, both High and Low and Highest to Lowest, in
Hmm.
Ed McBain's novel King Samson, David King is very adamant
Hmm.
that he's not going to pay.
Sure.
And the storyline structuring has been done in such a fashion that Steve Carella truly believes that even though his economic strata and his social standing is higher up, from a
Hmm.
moral standing, David King is far lower than even the kidnappers. That even
Sure.
Carella himself feels
As in
because of the
that is
decision he made.
in the book, it's sort of
In the
expressed
book,
in like in prose.
it's expressed.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
expressed.
Hmm.
But the book is also important because the book also gives King's wife, David
Hmm.
King's wife, Diane King, a lot more character because
Sure.
Diane tries to convince him
Hmm.
to pay and ultimately threatens to leave him, to the extent that by the end of the book we she prepares to leave him,
Sure.
taking their kid with him,
Hmm.
to that extent.
So she's the
Similarly, the
moral
female
voice,
character,
right? Sort of like
she's
that.
the moral voice.
Hmm.
Similarly, from the kidnapper's point of view, Kathy is the moral compass for
Okay.
Eddie Folsom, her husband, and Cy Bernard, their accomplice.
Okay.
Both of them, both these trio are the one responsible for the kidnapping of Jeff Reynolds, the kid who is the chauffeur's kid,
Yeah.
essentially, and
Hmm.
keeping the kid comfortable.
Hmm.
The story, I think the book is written in a book is published in 1959. The story, I
Hmm.
think, takes place in around 50s. So it's
Sure.
like the era of New York during that time, just post World
Hmm.
War II in a way.
Yeah.
Because David King himself is a World War veteran, and there are
Hmm.
lots of conversations between both Carella and Dave Carella, the
Hmm.
detective, who is himself a War veteran,
Sure.
and King's own point of view about why he's selfish in a way. Because in
Hmm.
a battlefield, he doesn't feel any sort of remorse towards another killing another
Sure.
person
Hmm.
because it's his job in a way, and
Hmm.
he's very unapologetic about the fact that he has money and he wants to live this life, which
Hmm.
is again a very complicated character expressed very simplistically. I think
Hmm.
McBain's novel, it's written very well. There are a couple of paragraphs in the novel where
Hmm.
the expression, the interiority of all these
Hmm.
characters are expressed very well. But
Hmm.
the story is also very dialogue driven, which is why it would
Sure.
have made a perfect 45-minute to 50-minute episode script.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because, and here's the interesting bit of it all. Ed McMahon's novel essentially comprises the entire first half
Hmm.
of High and Low,
Hmm.
except it does one crucial change, which is where Kurosawa's all of its own changes come into the picture.
Sure.
The exchange of the briefcase in High and Low,
Hmm.
that is effectively planned, but that does not happen. It does not happen on a train.
Okay.
it happens in a car,
Hmm.
and it actually does not happen because the moral compass of the kidnappers, Kathy, she
Ah,
actually
okay.
reveals where the kidnapping victim is, which
Okay.
allows the police to capture them.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
how the story more or less
So it
ends.
gives a lot more than, okay, if I'm getting it correctly, to the kidnappers also, like in terms of
Yeah, yeah, it gives
interiority,
a lot more.
or
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
all
It
of
gives
them,
the
or is it
kidnapper
just
a lot more.
Kathy?
No, no, no. It gives character. It doesn't give too much character to Eddie, the Kathy's husband,
Hmm.
but it gives character to Sai, the
Hmm.
other accomplice, who is
Hmm.
far more of a evil character in a way because he also tries to molest Kathy in the story.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
there's that also
Hmm.
involved in it.
Sure. 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 Sure.
And he's not. He is pretty much like written to be a psychopath because he's
Hmm.
also mentally trying to torture the kid who is stuck with them. So
Hmm.
he's trying to do that as well. So
Hmm.
it's a very interesting tale, but it's also like deeply stuck to a constraint. I think
Hmm.
Kurosawa's ambition was far more
Yeah.
like wide reaching in a way, encompassing in a way,
Yeah.
because honest to God, I think we have all seen High and Low first before finally getting into King's Science, I mean, a way.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, it doesn't actually, if the constricting of the ambition and the streamlining of the ambition within Ed McMahon's story is
Hmm.
very interesting to note in a way.
Hmm.
So if we take that into account and then we see the transplanting of the milieu to Japan,
Yeah.
what Kurosawa has been exploring throughout his filmography, the post-war Japan era,
Yeah.
the trauma of post-war Japan, as well
Hmm.
as the economic boom that Japan would face,
Yeah.
and how that effectively increases the divide, the
Yeah.
class divide and the economic divide between the
Hmm.
between the sectors of the populace. That is,
Hmm.
like, again, the genius, quote unquote genius of Kurosawa lies in a story stretching from intimate to procedural to suddenly expansive to becoming like a city symphony.
Yeah. No,
It is also
absolutely.
it is almost
Hmm.
like baffling how effortlessly he does that. But
Yeah.
again, now, what do
No,
you
no,
think so
absolutely.
far?
No, it makes sense. I mean, whatever context setup, I think that was necessary also, and it was like very effective in like laying out the differences. And I think whatever I've not read the novel, but I was watching this the commentary on High and Low. I think it's by Stephen Prince, sorry, not Price, on the Criterion Channel, and I think it says how um, the novel centers around the protagonist's redemption in a way. He finds, and I'm quoting this, he finds and beats one of the kidnappers and also reclaims his stake in the shoe company by the end.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
what happens in the novel. In Akira Kurosawa's version, it's um, more complicated. So I think my memory of the first time I saw High and Low, and because so many comparisons have now been drawn with something like Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, rightfully so, because the verticality of this film and the verticality of that film sort of match each other. And I'm pretty sure Bong Joon-ho has cited High and Low as a reference point for him. But I think I had remembered wrongly in some ways that High and Low is very evenly divided like in the sense that the two halves of it are evenly divided. The first half is quote unquote the high, which it is true. It is situated in the heights of the apartment where
Hmm.
Kingo is living, Gondo is living. And then I had remembered
It's
that
essentially a massive penthouse. It's essentially a
yeah,
massive house in a way.
massive house. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
Parasite thing. It's literally what happens in Parasite. Like when you see
Yes, yes,
people
yes.
go up the stairs and reach this
Stairs.
gleaming thing, which you can see from down below. It's literally that.
Hmm.
And no, but that, and then the second half I thought was a quote unquote low perspective, but it's not. I think the second half is much more a quote unquote middle perspective in the sense that we are associated with the police affair, but not associated with them as in like to identify with them as
We
much as
follow them.
we follow them.
We
And that's,
follow
I
them.
think that's
Yes.
there even. And as you said, like, in the novel, the main character is there's two main characters in a sense. One of them is Gondo, and then I mean in the novel, whatever the name is, and King, and uh, and the
Yeah.
detective. And I think here too, like even though Tatsuya Nakada is giving a very an unassuming, unflashy performance. Like it's
Restrained,
very
very very
reserved.
restrained perform.
Doesn't call attention to itself
We
at
know
all.
that we know that he's reserved because we have
Yeah,
seen his other
him and
performances. He is
him
good.
in Unleash mode. Yeah, we have seen him, but
Yeah.
no, he's
Yeah.
so I think the first half, especially, I was noticing how much they are. The police is centered at the center of the frame, and you see these quote unquote other main
Yes.
players at the edges of the frame, and you see how much we are actually supposed to be caught in the middle like them and a bit like Gondo. So it's sort of both in a way, and we are
There
like,
is always a discussion, right? There is always a discussion between many film criticism, that when you are adapting a stage play into a movie, the fact of
mm,
the matter is, because the scope, because the location itself is so limited,
yeah,
it becomes a hassle for people to make it quote unquote as cinematic as possible.
oh yeah, watch this.
Anytime anybody says that, throw this first half of High and Low to their face.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely. I
throw that.
mean, it's the textbook example of like filmmaking telling the story. Like you can watch this on mute and it will tell you the
Yes.
entire story with its
Just look
blocking.
at how
So,
the camera moves as Mifune gets up from his chair,
yeah,
moves to one end of the room.
yeah.
The chauffeur is on the other end in the
Oh,
shadow.
you
The
know,
police are in one corner.
the
Yeah.
one thing that, which is why I wrote the first half absolutely turns my guts inside out, and it's a good thing. A moral thriller is
Yes.
supposed to make you uncomfortable and make you torn between what these choices the protagonist has to make. There's this recurring image, and I am going to have to search for the actor's name on my bunch of notes that I've written, but it's the consistent background image of the driver, of the
The
chauffeur,
chauffeur. Yeah.
essentially. He's consistently there, like, and he's always in the background, and it breaks your heart, or at least breaks my heart, whenever he's lurking in the background, and he
And
has
he's
this,
not out of focus because
yeah,
Kurosawa doesn't do that.
yeah. So he's
Kurosawa
consistent,
doesn't put anybody out of focus. Everybody is in focus. You are
and
noticing
he's
every single person.
consistently there, and that weight of that guilt in some ways of this, because the moral thing comes from the fact that I was ready to pay the amount of money in a second for my child who is playing with his child in the house, and the second the tables turn and his child goes missing, this moral confusion happens, and then you see his reaction, and his reaction, like the driver's reaction, he's just got this extremely meek body language. He's
Yes.
got like these shoulders which are like slouched down, and he's consistently like ashamed to even say anything. And the one time when he like pleads because he like can't handle the stoicism or even the strength of keeping that posture, I was just like, I mean, if you want to see a film in which the space is utilized and the actor in that space is utilized to maximum effect, I mean, this is, you throw this on as like a text essentially from which you can study. Which I will get to what then Spike Lee has decided to do with this section of the film, because I was
Yeah.
utterly baffled.
Also,
Yeah.
yeah. Also I love like whenever a phone call comes, either his wife or his assistant always come to the edge of the phone to
Oh
listen
yeah,
to
yeah,
what
yeah.
they're talking about,
They are the two
because
opposing forces, right? Yeah.
signifying the angel and the devil on your
Yeah,
shoulder,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Gondo's
Absolutely.
angel is his wife, the
Yeah.
devil is his assistant, who he believes
Assistant.
is his friend,
Kawanishi, I
who
think
ultimately
it's. Yeah.
Kawanishi, who
Yeah.
ultimately
Yeah.
betrays him and joins the other corporates. And I'm
Yeah.
like, again, if you are going to show me visually whatever
Yeah.
is going on, there is nothing explicitly told regarding all this stuff. This
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
all there, it's all visually there. which
Hmm.
is why what doesn't which is why what doesn't work
Hmm.
for high and low, at least for me,
Hmm.
is a couple of the dialogues in the section which is very evidently expository,
Sure.
which is why, like, and there is no, like, considering that it is Kurosawa, I know
Hmm.
very much so that it could have been changed, or it could have
Hmm.
been
Hmm.
made more naturalistic,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
this is Kurosawa.
Yeah.
He was very good at that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So those expository segments, especially during the introduction and everything else,
Yeah.
introducing the police officers,
Sure.
introduction of the corporate guys and everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those felt very much very sloppy in a way, and
Sure.
those I could never completely forget.
Sure.
Which is one of the reasons why the first half, a couple of these things always stand out more. But
Sure.
again, it's
And
always the
I have
fact
found
of
the actor's
the
name,
matter
by
is
the way.
then
It's Yutaka
which
Sada.
actor,
Sada, who plays
which actor,
the chauffeur. I think
chauffeur,
he's
yeah.
not a very prominent actor in terms of name and all that when it comes to the credits, because
If I'm
Tishiro
not mistaken,
Toshiro
woman who is
also.
playing Mifune's wife is also in Tokyo Story.
She is, I think, a
Uh,
regular fixture for Kurosawa also in a lot of, apparently. I've
Kurosawa
not,
also.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kagawa, I think, is the
Yeah, yeah. She
Kyoko
was in. I think she's
Kagawa.
in Tokyo Story. I think she's in Tokyo
Okay.
Story, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's that criticism. I don't know criticism or not, but I guess though, the women in, I think, highest to lowest are even worse. But I think in high and
Il
low,
finish Hedera.
yeah,
Il
I
finish
think,
Hedera. Yeah.
yeah, she's given nothing to do, and when she is given something to do, that horrible score does not help. But
Oh God, we will have to talk about
yeah,
that.
we
Yeah.
will talk
Anyway,
about
yeah.
that. But no, no, I think here the morality thing works, and she's got again. It's I actually still slightly prefer the kids angle, like kids as a morality, as a symbol of morality, than a woman. I think women are much more. There's a habit of a lot of films in a classical era to position the
No,
woman
but I
just
think
as that. But
I
yeah, it's
understand.
agree.
I think I understand why Kurosawa almost decreases the woman's role in the movie
Hmm.
or completely removes it from the source material itself.
Hmm.
Because Kurosawa is like famously criticized for not
Oh,
being
is
able
it?
to write female characters,
Hmm.
especially. But again, Throne of Blood,
Hmm.
we know what a character he had written.
Rashomon
Mifune's
also.
wives,
No.
Rashomon also in a way.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Kurosawa was criticized for being
Sure.
unable to write
It
being
didn't
unable to
bother
write
me
good
much
female
at
character.
all here, to be
No.
honest. Like, it didn't bother me, and I think it works within the confinements. I think there's one particular detail though, and I think this is again I didn't have this memory of high and low, but now that I rewatched it, I was like, it's interesting that this film and then later even highest to lowest, they don't follow up on this or like dig into this that much. I think there's this moment where um, I think what is his name? Kawanishi is trying to convince Gondo about this whole idea that, like, I think he's already sold him out. So he's basically trying to tell him
Mm,
that don't appeal the decision and all that. And he's like,
mm,
listen to your wife. Anyways, you began because you got money from her dowry, essentially. Like, this is not entirely your earned money. You got a special support system. So listen to
mm,
her. All that stuff and this whole idea, because increasingly what happens in the film is, and I don't know how to feel about it. I think it's interesting. I don't know if I like it. Is the whole idea that everyone grows extremely sympathetic towards Gondo, and the film
which again
repeats.
is a problem. Which again is a problem. I think, especially in the current climate. And
Yeah.
again, it's also a recurring theme for Kurosawa himself, because
Hmm.
Kurosawa was quote unquote somewhat sympathetic to people within the upper strata in a way. He wasn't so
Sure.
sympathetic that he would say that rich people are good. No, no, he wouldn't
No,
say that. He
there's
never said
clearly
that.
not there, no,
But
because the whole idea of this is that he achieves some sort of humanity when he comes down. Like, that's the whole idea, because
yes,
there is a
that's the
comeuppance
whole
for the
idea.
character here. That's
Come up and
another
for the
big
character
issue
here.
with in that Spike Lee
Highest to
film.
lowest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think one of the issues with Kurosawa's films is again the fact that one thing that we had explored in Seven Samurai, the fact that
Hmm.
his
Hmm.
own lineage comes from the samurai. So his
Sure.
sympathy towards the samurai as bastions of purity and good manners and
Hmm.
privilege and all that stuff, it kind of sort of extends here as well
Sure.
in a way,
Yeah. And I
here
think
as
that's
well in a way,
you see that in
because the
his.
police officers
I
because
was
the
about to
police
say.
officers' attempts to say, that look at Gondo, look at how much he has sacrificed, we need to do this for him. And I'm
Hmm.
like, you can just look at it objectively and say you have to save a kid.
Kid.
Or
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
just look at it objectively and say that this is a kidnapper who has done a crime, we need to catch that. There is a sense of cynicism that is somewhat absent in a movie that is all about procedural, which is
Yeah.
why it is very baffling to me
Yeah, yeah,
somewhat.
I remember, I either again, this is I saw this like a long while back. So I was like surely they're doing all this because there's some sort of rug pull at the end where it turns out that actually this is all like Gondo's master plan of creating like a public image, which is like built on, um, on the fact that he becomes the savior and all that. But no, the film really
No.
wants you to sympathize with him the more that it goes on. And
Yes, yes.
I'm like, I don't know if I can entirely. I understand the sympathy, but I don't think I can entirely like paint him as the hero you want me to paint him as.
Hmm.
There's more complicated angles to it, and I think the finale, the final
Yeah.
section of the film does kind of dismantle it a little bit.
Kind of
But
dismantle it, but
yeah,
not so
not
much that you
entirely,
can, not so much that you can, yeah, not so much
not
that you can
entirely,
entirely forget
and
it.
yeah, and I think,
I think
hmm,
his earlier film, The Bat Sleep Well, does it far better. I don't think it's
sure,
his earlier.
okay,
I think his later work.
yeah,
I
that's
think The Bat Sleep
is the
Well does
Hamlet
this
or
far better.
Macbeth.
Yeah, it's a Hamlet. It's a
Hamlet.
Hamlet
Okay.
adaptation
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah, The Bat Sleep Well I think does this far better than High and
Sure.
Low. But right again, what makes High and Low so utterly memorable
Hmm.
starts from the
Hmm.
midsection point and then continues into the second half,
Hmm.
which is that exchange in the train.
Oh, it's
Again,
sublime.
it's sublime, and I know exactly the movie he takes it from. It's a
Okay.
70-minute noir. Yeah, it's a
Hmm.
70-minute noir, okay, which is
Hmm.
directed by, if I'm not mistaken, it's directed by Robert Wise. I need to check.
Okay.
But that entire movie takes place on a train.
Hmm.
Okay, and the camera movement which follows those photographers as they move from
Yeah,
one
yeah.
coach to the next and does all that. That is expert. That is literally frame by frame, shot by shot. Kurosawa tries to replicate those
Really? Okay.
that
Wow.
ha- that
Hmm.
that those movements, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I see where you are coming from,
Okay.
Kurosawa. I see
No,
which
but it's
movies you have been watching. I get you.
he
I
was.
get
I think
you.
that was the other thing. He is inspired. He loves America. He loved a certain sort of American cinema, especially. But it's so wonderful, though. In the context of this film, it works absolutely terrifically because we've been confined
Terrifically, yeah.
otherwise to the whole
Yeah, yeah.
apartment for this long, and then the camera just comes to life in that sequence. Like it was
Hmm.
already. No, that's wrong. Actually, the camera was very lively
Camera was
in the first
already lively,
sequence,
yeah.
but in the second half it like gains a kineticism and the control
Yes, yes.
goes away essentially and the kineticism sort of
Yeah.
comes in. So you get, again, I don't know how much championing of Kurosawa's form we can do because there is no questioning his form like in many ways, like
No, no, there is no, like, High
yeah,
and Low's first half should be taught at every film school, especially with regards to how blocking is done.
yeah, yeah,
Because if you want a textbook example to show film students how to do blocking, you show
yeah.
this.
And to
Literally,
show
there is
how
no other example.
like a stagey thing could actually be so much more when you give it to a filmmaker.
Another Kurosawa example is Seven Samurais example in the chalet where all the samurais are having their dinner, and the
Mhm.
positioning of each of the samurai and
Yes,
Kikuchi,
yes, yes,
yes.
yes. Yeah,
Again,
yeah, yeah.
blocking,
Yeah,
blocking and
very
staging,
basic stuff, but like
literally.
stuff which people don't care about because it's like who will care about it. Firstly, again, the editing will come into play because speed of editing and all that. But like, anyways,
Yes,
just
yes, yes.
masterful stuff, and then yeah, the second half is like the sort of procedural I think Amartya and me have been championing for the longest time because we've championed William Friedkin for the longest time also, right? So
William Friedkin's French Connection, To Live and Die
yeah,
in LA.
sorcerer,
It's
yeah.
or even Michael Mann's Manhunter.
Hmm. I would
Manhunter
say
also.
even in like The Exorcist, one of the things I remember is that entire procedure of medical tests and just this whole
Yes.
idea of testing and I'm just like, oh God, this is like the biggest horror of the film is this. But yeah.
What really stuck out to me, and what made me understand that the second half is entirely Kurosawa's own inception, is
Mm,
how much he's integrating exposition, the
mm,
different levels of police informers and
yeah, yeah,
investigators,
yeah.
and how much he's integrating what work they are doing within the investigation itself, and
Yeah,
he's integrating comedy as well, action as well,
yeah,
basic sound design,
yeah,
each and everything, like each and every section, and through that he's exploring each and every section of the law basically,
yeah.
because now they're
It's the
exploring
it's
in the
when
ground level.
it's I know we talked about this film actually, so it's weird like this connection and I think Spike Lee homages this film by naming a company on its name in highest to lowest.
A stray
Stray
dog.
Dog. which we have talked about.
Yes,
There's
we had.
a hallucinatory montage of the city in Stray Dog
Yes,
for 10, 15 minutes,
which
I
is
think.
extraordinary,
Extraordinary
extraordinary.
sequence. And I think the
Yes, yes, yes.
entire procedural section of High and Low is essentially like an expansion of like that and like Yokohama and like just seeing
Expansion.
how the
And
uh
it essentially peaks in that section where the chauffeur takes his kid
yeah.
to essentially search for the kidnapper's house,
Yeah.
while the two other investigators,
Yeah.
Bosun and the other guy, I don't remember the young guy's name, they
Yeah.
are investigating it parallelly. The car
Mm.
is moving forward, the camera is completely still within the
Hmm.
frames of both the cars, and they are following each of their own parallel strands of investigation. Again, masterful stuff. it's
Yeah.
it's how seamlessly edited this that entire
Yeah.
sequence is, and how it
Yeah,
finally,
absolutely.
you know,
Collides.
collides
I mean,
essentially. Yeah.
I love again. I love the whole section of the chauffeur essentially trying his level hardest to be like, try and remember what happened. I can't live with the fact that I got this. Well, it for him, it's coming from a place of sympathy for Gondo, but like for me, it's like coming from a place of pressure and guilt, and your the idea that you belong to a lower social strata, and that you are taking help from someone, and then all that stuff comes into it. So yeah, I mean, and again, and then the movie shifts into like downright, it becomes Night of the Living Dead in some ways when it
Yes,
moves to
yes.
Dope Valley. Is
Depths
it
of
Dope
hell,
Alley?
essentially, in a way.
Dope
Yeah,
Alley,
it's
right?
essentially Dope Alley is essentially like depths of hell in a way. It's like if you are looking at Dante's Inferno, and this is like
Yeah.
the like final circle of hell in a way, because it's utterly, how do I put it? It's a mixture of bewitching and utterly terrifying in a way,
Oh
like
yeah.
how
I
he's
mean,
shooting it.
like I again I had misremembered a lot of High and Low, but I can't for the life of
I
me
had
forget.
forgotten this.
Okay.
I had forgotten this actually. I had forgotten this
Okay.
section. I was watching this section now. I'm like, damn, I had forgotten this
Yeah,
section
yeah,
was
it's
this like
properly
this terrifying.
haunting stuff. It's just like it totally veers
Yeah.
off into a different section. And I think what Stephen Prince was saying in the commentary was that this film was as much meant as, of course, a procedural, but as a polemic for Kurosawa at that time, because I think kidnappings in Japan had started to happen a lot, and he wanted, so essentially, there's a point in the film where Tatsuya Nakada's character changes his plans, let's just say, to put it in the best way, to get
Yes.
the person responsible for all this hung, essentially, rather than getting a sentence or a life sentence or anything. And what Stephen
Yes, yes,
Prince was
yes.
getting at was the fact that Kurosawa and a lot of people at that time wanted that sort of sentence for like the death penalty, essentially, for
Death
that,
penalty. Yes, yes, yes.
for people who were
For
doing
that
this
sort of
casually.
criminology.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I think it doubles as
I
that.
was trying to remember. Yeah, I was trying to remember the movie which has that sublime train sequence. Which Kurosawa is which Kurosawa I felt was heavily inspired from. It's Richard Fleischer's The Narrow Margin.
Okay.
It's I think around 70 minutes.
So
It's I
is it like your
think, yeah,
B
it's
noir?
71 minutes long. It's a B noir. I had given it a 4.5 out of 5.
Is
It
this the other
is.
detour like thing? Like I know we've talked about
Yup.
detour. Okay,
Oh,
okay, okay.
yup.
We should do
This
this noir. Remember, we should do a B noir thing. Actually, it'll be fun.
B noir thing, yes.
Fun. Yeah,
The
yeah.
narrow margin, if people haven't seen, it's on YouTube. It's
Hmm.
1 hour and 11 minutes long. I am telling you, watch it. You are
Hmm.
going to be entertained from start to finish.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
that good. But
Yeah.
do watch how he uses the camera in those enclosed spaces to
Hmm.
show people chasing each other.
Hmm.
It's sublime how he's doing it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
when I was watching High and Low, I'm like, I see you, Kurosawa. I see you.
You're doing the borrowing, but doing it very well. Is that the
Doing
way you
very
want to
well.
put it? Okay.
Yes. You're doing it
You're
very
not
well.
just
I'm like,
throwing a green filter on your thing.
no, no,
That
no.
happens
No,
later
no, no.
on in
That
people who
happens
should
later
not
on,
be
yes.
named in the same conversation at all as
At
Akira
all,
Kurosawa.
yes. Yes.
So no, I think the dope alley section I remembered actually since because I was just like I remember it going into this zone where I was like, I did not expect us to go there. And like, I think
there.
there's interesting, like, you say like polemical stuff and all that. And I was thinking how personally, I'm not for the death penalty in this scenario. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
though. See, the interesting things about great films like these, I think, is that there's a particular reading you can take in this film of how he shows the police, which I think is fascinating. The way they
Hmm.
discard one of the victims, dope alley victims of
Oh yeah,
the killer, is brutal. I thought it was,
brutal.
yeah, I was like, this is like unsparing and uncaring. I'm like, is he meaning to like show the police in this light? Or is it supposed to be,
Hmm.
there's like different questions that come into your mind because the film, despite being polemical about its whole stance, is also includes moments like these which then make you question the entire film, which happens like entirely in the end. I think like the entire end sequence is that, in some ways. I think,
No,
especially
but
because of that
again,
performance.
it's a cynicism that one can expect from a movie that is dealing with neo noir, and one that is
Mhm.
dealing with Kurosawa's own exploration of post war Japan and what
Yeah,
would have gone through this era
yeah.
where people are is trying to navigate a
Mhm.
moment of utter uncertainty, and Japan slowly and steadily like moving upward
Yeah,
in economy
yeah.
basically. But still the class divide is increasing more and more because the existence of a place called Dope Alley
Mm.
itself
Yeah,
signifies that the economic divide is so extreme in a way,
yeah. I
because
mean, it
of course
becomes
how else would that be?
yeah, and it becomes divisions. It becomes about subdivisions within those divisions, which I think is very much how someone like the main culprit essentially is Takechio, right? Or Takechio. How do you
Yeah,
pronounce it?
yeah.
Takeuchi.
Takechi.
Sorry,
Yeah,
so
Take
Takeuchi.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so he, in the way that he is exploiting people even lower than him, essentially to gain
Yeah.
sort of leverage over the people
He's
higher than
essentially a
him.
medical intern, right? He's
Yeah,
essentially a medical intern who is utilizing his patients who are drug addicts
yeah,
to become accomplices in a kidnapping scheme,
yeah,
which again is the type of cynicism you would expect from a nasty noir,
yeah,
from an exceedingly nasty noir.
yeah,
And the fact that Kurosawa integrates it so seamlessly is again something that Kurosawa can do very well, which is
yeah.
why the fact that the police are sympathetic to someone like Gondo, who is essentially a capitalist,
Hmm.
and the fact that we are supposed to have some sort of a sympathy for him is a weird tonal dissonance I have with
Sure.
this entire movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that doesn't track with the overall cynicism the movie is
Yeah.
pertaining throughout.
And I think he didn't intend to retain the ending of this. He only retained it because he loved the performance of Sutomu Yamazaki, the guy who plays Takeuchi. And because
Hmm.
he did bring something more to him than, just being a joker like psychopath. It's,
Yeah. You mean Paul Dano's Riddler? You mean Paul Dano's Riddler? Riddler
I
shouldn't be
forgot
that.
about
Yeah.
him. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that
Oh, oh yeah.
in the Batman, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean
Yeah. Yeah.
it's no, but I thought like his dialogue. I mean, there is one dialogue where I loved when like
I'm shaking because I have been in solitary for so long. Don't think that I'm shaking because I'm afraid of you. Something of that sort of the dialogue is there, right? In the end.
yes,
I think
and it's
that's
so
yes.
defiant in that whole like defiant and also just like it's so pessimistic in a way. The whole idea of him essentially saying that. You my only objective in like life was to bring you down or something like that, and that gave me purpose. And all this
Yeah.
stuff, sort of this resentment. And I think one of the credits I'll give to Kurosawa a lot here, versus again we'll get to
Hmm.
Spike Lee. But here is he gives Takeuchi the space
Space.
and time to
Yes.
express all that. And actually Mifune is great in this for just being quite for underplaying quite a
And
bit actually.
also for Mifune, we know what Mifune
Mm.
can do, by the way. We
Yeah.
have seen what Mifune can do. People
Yeah.
don't know what Mifune can do. Watch Seven Samurai. Watch Rashomon.
I think
They know
Stray
what
Dog Mein
Mifune
he
can
is a
do when
little
he's
more restraint also. Like he
he's more
practices a
restrained.
similar
In
restraint.
all these, in all of his noir quartets, in his
Mm,
noir quartet, which is essentially Drunken Angel, Stray Dog, High and Low, and the Bad Sleep Will,
mm,
Mifune is underplaying.
sure.
This is another similarity.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the noir quartet, Mifune is in all four of them, and in
Yeah.
all four of them, he's underplaying.
Yeah. And I
He's
think
underplaying.
that last scene works because he is silent, and what you see is uh, Takeuchi and then you see Mifune's reflection on that. I mean, that's an unforgettable image on the glass
Yes,
panel
yes,
also,
yes,
right?
yes.
And then you see him processing what all is being said, and there is no, you don't know how to process his emotion to it. And I think that's what like dismantles the easy sympathy a little bit towards Gondo the film is pushing towards. I don't think it entirely dismantles it, but I think there is a slight niggle to it, or
Pushback.
like pushback
Yeah,
to it.
slight pushback to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But
again, it's
yeah.
like what I genuinely like is the the expectation of using a cinema scope or a
Mhm.
widescreen format like in
Yeah.
high and low. You would expect vistas, right? You would
Yeah.
expect like
There are
large
some
scale
great.
exploration of a
I love
city.
the opening titles of this. Actually, it's all
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love how it's like tilted downwards a little bit. Like the horizon is down,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you can see everything
Horizon is tilted downward.
from that top angle
Yeah,
essentially of Yokohama. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And it's like, and again, this in this case, the cinema scope actually is used well even in those closed spaces in the alleyways.
yeah,
How he's using, yeah, very, it's used beautifully.
yeah.
The one time the movie actually uses color is also fascinating.
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
in the chimney.
Schindler's
Yes, the
List
pink.
essentially. What
Yes, Schindler's
Schindler's
List.
List stole from this essentially in a way.
Essentially,
Yeah.
yes.
But yeah, the
Amazing
pink.
stuff. Amazing stuff. It's like that. That is one of the segments where even that like extremely loud music cue also works, because it's like it's that shocking, like
Yeah.
suddenly a burst of color coming from the frame
And
essentially.
to be fair to Kurosawa, he uses music very judiciously here.
Very
Very
judiciously, yes,
judiciously.
yes.
Which I mean, tell me if this is the appropriate transition or you want to wax
I
more
think it is the
lyrical.
appropriate transition because this is one of the biggest what the fuck moments of this entire movie. We are, of course, talking about Highest to Lowest from Spike Lee because, god damn it.
New mixes of mood music. I need a theme. Theme music.
Wake up, y'all. The king's here.
Got to pay back.
Buying back, stacking his records. It's a lot of money. There's more to life than just making money. It's integrity. That's what you stand for.
What you think? I think you gotta be a little crazy sometimes in this world to get what you want.
King David, now ain't this something? I got your full attention now, huh? You finally listening to me.
Somebody's got Trey.
What do you mean somebody's got
Somebody's kidnapped our son.
$17.5 million in an all-black Jordan backpack.
Try me if you think I'm playing.
I ain't got.
Seriously, god damn it.
I mean, see, I am quite relieved for once that I am not the one being the one who has like a pet peeve with the background score or anything. Because I generally, that's my big thing with a lot of films. But this one, I mean, I think everyone was distracted. So, I'm like, okay, good. Yeah,
No,
I
no,
relate.
it's like the start. It's like the starting of the movie. Again, the similarity between High and Low and Highest to Lowest in this regard is both High and Low and Highest to Lowest wants to ensure that you are in a sympathetic bent with the protagonist, that is the capitalist.
Yeah.
Kingo and David King, which
Mhm.
is played by Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
At least in the case of Kingo, every
Hmm.
other character is like, look at Kingo, look at Gondo-san. We are going to ensure that so much he has sacrificed. We are going to ensure that
And
we catch the kidnapper
just
because of him.
to be fair, just to be fair to High and Low, he does have a significant comeuppance and fall by the end. It's not like
You
he
fall by
returns back to his status. The whole idea is that
which by the way,
has to fall a little bit to
he has to fall. But the problem, but the thing about here is the fact that you are supposed to be sympathetic or supposed to look at him with a heroic light, I understand, Spike, but you don't have to do a full on violin music background and schmaltzy score for that, man. It seems like a 1945 to 1950s ka American melodrama ka
True.
movie dekh rahe hain hum.
Yeah.
And like, what is this?
Yeah.
ये क्या score है?
Yeah. The
कुछ
score
भी
is
नहीं हो
this
रहा.
to be
Even in
Howard
the office segment.
Dawson. Howard Dawson.
Howard Rosin.
Yeah.
Even in the office section where he's talking about his, plans to finally do the leverage buyout of
Yeah.
Stacking Hits Records, music company with David King, here a music mogul wants to regain control
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
essentially. Even then, the score is so distracting. You are not even concentrating on what he's trying to do, which
I
is a
actually,
problem because it
yeah.
takes over 40 to 50 minutes to actually get to the point.
I actually thought, you know, I think that there's a moment in Highest to Lowest where he gets the call from the kidnapper
Hmm.
and everything goes
Hmm.
silent. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, if he's going to use music like this where it goes silent from now on, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
now
in.
keep it silent. Yeah,
And
now
then he
keep it silent. Yeah.
walks into the room and reveals, and the music just blares up. I'm like, excuse me? What is this? I thought the effectiveness came from the music just drowning out everything that we were supposed to listen to.
Yes.
I'm just like, this is a farce. This is not like a serious film. This is a joke.
Yeah.
And the music is so
Like it's
derivative
distractingly
and
loud. It's
distracting and
distractingly loud. Yeah, yeah. The problem here is Spike Lee in most of his interviews, and even I felt like it, that Spike Lee is trying to do a quote unquote jazz interpretation of high and low in a way, at least in terms
okay,
of auditory mannerism, which
okay,
I buy, especially in that sublime middle section.
yes.
But the
That's the
interpretation
only
of jazz,
section it works in, I think, like
yeah, the
beautifully, I think.
interpretation of jazz, that is chaos controlled within chaos,
Yeah,
you can't restrict that to simply sound. You have to expand it to visuals as well. And the
yeah,
fact is, the movie shifting from digital to film to digital again, it's like
yeah.
Libertic essentially changing formats in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
then the
playful
cut,
in the way I think Spike Lee generally
yeah,
likes. Now, I think like you'll get flashback moments with like a filter, like a 16 millimeter filter, and like
16
yeah,
millimeter
like
filter, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so I think that for me, I was like, yeah, that's cute, Spike, but I don't care. It's one of those things. Like I think I've written this down. I just want to mention it because I know I'll forget it otherwise. And I kind of want to. I hate being the. I'm generally the auteur guy, and I hate being very non-auteurist in this sense. But I will be a bit like that. I think my thing, my what I whatever I've seen up until now of Spike Lee has always struck me as like it's operating on a little bit of a Godardian, Jean-Luc Godard principle, which to me is its style, which I think is admirable in its commitment to like, anachronisms, mixed media montage, irreverence, fourth wall breaking, good, 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 all things I don't mind. I think the issue, and I've had this with Godard, I apologize. I know my cinephile card is revoked. It's okay. The issue
और
is
कितना बार रिवोक करोगे?
I know it's
और
already revoked.
कितना बार रिवोक?
Let's burn it now. Okay, so
Yes.
no, my problem is the commitment to all this stuff. To me, is a lot of times people will throw up style to cover for a lack of substance or like emotion because there's
Yes,
nothing
yes.
there. Problem is if you're doing high and lows reinterpretation in a context, in a cultural context, which is quite interesting actually. There is both
Yes.
substance and emotion 100% there. What your style
Yeah.
is doing is distracting from it. And I don't like
It's
that.
drowning it. It's
Yeah.
drowning it, and that's the bigger problem here. That distracting music is taking away everything, and that's not to like take away from the fact that Spike Lee in interviews, which interviews I'm watching now, by the way, before
Yeah,
the
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
I haven't seen any of the
Yeah.
interviews. Interviews I'm watching now, he's like, a director is like a GM of a basketball team, and then when you have a star like Michael Jordan, who in this
Denzel
case is
Washington.
Denzel Washington,
Hmm.
when you have a star like Michael Jordan, we need to up our game and we need to surround Jordan with better players. And I'm like, if I'm going to take your fucking basketball analogy, this is what you call surrounding your players with? These are your actors? Are you shitting me with this?
I don't even know how much to blame the actors for this film. Like said, there are, I would say, two performances in this which I can say are maybe among the worst performances I've seen this year. I won't.
Is one of them Dean Winters? Is one
I
of
was
them Dean
about to say.
Winters?
I was about to say. I will
Yes.
100% not forget naming him because I thought he was downright atrocious from the moment he started speaking in this film. I was like, this is
See, to give credit to
absurd.
Winters, this is the shtick he has been moving with for the last
It feels
20 years of his
so
career.
off
Yeah.
in this film, and it's and I think the other performance would be Ilfinish Hadera's, just because the score. I think like there's a moment where she has to emote, and I was like, this is a this is terrible. Like I don't have any other word to say it. Yeah, you can't. You're not making me connect or relate to anything. It's just really sloppy, and I was just
Ilfene Shadera, who is cast as the wives of two major like black African American historical figures or black characters. Like Ilfene Shadera is the wife of Ilfene Shadera plays the wife of Bumpy Johnson in the Godfather of Harlem TV series, where Bumpy
Mhm.
Johnson is played by Forrest Whitaker.
Okay.
And she has a lot of stuff to do in it. None of them are interesting.
Oh,
The
sad.
less said about Forrest Whitaker, the better. And as for here, she's
She plays
aside
Pam
Denzel
King.
Washington. I did
Hmm.
Yes, she is aside Denzel Washington, and I genuinely don't know who to blame here. I really don't. You are you are you are literally playing opposite Denzel Washington. I know it's a very tough job to even come to the same wavelength as him.
Yeah.
Washington, I think, is playing in a different register altogether.
I think
Like
him and Jeffrey
he's
Wright
extraordinary.
are playing in one
Yeah, both
register.
of them.
I think Jeffrey Wright
Yeah.
get one or two scenes. I was like, you did not say that, Jeffrey Wright. You do not say that in the sense that I really like Jeffrey Wright whenever I've seen him on screen. And I was just like, there are times when he had to say, I have noted this. You give my dick a rest. And I was like, I don't know,
You don't say
Jeffrey.
that.
I'm like, don't say that. Like, I'm like, firstly, it wasn't funny to me. And I was just like, the cringy. And I was just like,
Yeah.
why is Jeffrey Wright saying this? Like, leave him alone. Like, it was one of the. I felt bad for him, but yeah. Otherwise, their rapport is probably rappo or whatever you want to call it. That stupid word.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
is
another
the
and
best part
another
of it.
blink it or you blink it and you will miss it supporting role is Wendell Pierce in one section of the movie, where I'm like, that sudden rat-a-tat in the office between
Ah,
Wendell
yes.
Pierce and Denzel Washington. I'm like, see, where did this energy go? What the hell?
Yeah.
Where is this energy in every other section of the movie?
Yeah, so I mean, just to like, I guess, well, not set it up, but more like just the recontextualization is going back to New York as it was in the novel, but now it's of course set in 2025, where you have social
And
media as a huge thing, right?
let me
So,
clarify this right now. For many people, because this is social media, many people say a lot of shit without doing their work. Many people will say, "Oh my God, it's now going to be more of an Ed McBain ka novel ka adaptation." No, it isn't.
okay,
Shut up
yeah,
right now. No, it
yeah.
isn't. Ed McBain ka novel ka
Both are
adaptation.
credited, by the way. Like in the film, it's based on the
Yeah,
ransom, on King's ransom, and
King's
based
Ransom,
on the original screenplay, or
high and
based
low.
on of High and Low. And there are scene
Yeah,
compositions in this which directly call High and Low, especially the ending.
call real.
So I'm like,
Yeah, but
you can't like differentiate them that way.
the
And the whole first
the
half is
only
that.
thing
So
The only thing that this movie takes from Ed McBain's King's Ransom
hmm,
are it is in New York
hmm,
and the character's name is David King.
that's it.
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it.
High and Low is far more of a faithful adaptation of the
Sure.
entire book than Highest to Lowest
I
is.
mean, see,
Highest to Lowest is more of an adaptation of that movie, more or
King's
less.
Ransom is a film written by a police, like written from a
Is a
police
book.
person. This film fundamentally is against institutions, especially the police. They are the dumbest idiots in this film.
Yes, NYPD
Which
is incompetent. Yeah, that is the
exactly,
point.
which I think is maybe the only good swerve and the justifiable swerve that I think this film takes in the second half, which I was like, I buy it within the context of this film's portrayal of white America. Like in this Trumpian America, will you trust your own self confidence or over self confidence,
Yes,
whatever you want to call it,
exactly.
or the police? Of course, the former, not the latter. It's one of those
No, of
things. If
course,
you're a
yeah.
black man, of
And
course.
of course, because it is Spike Lee, you can't expect anything else. Because
Yes,
it's Spike Lee, and actual real life events have shown that that of course not. Of course, you're not going to judge.
yeah.
Of course, you're not going to trust these
Which is
people.
what I expected
Why
in
would
any
you?
case, and I thought it was decently done until the ending happens, where I was like, okay, I get it, Spike. I mean, I'm like, sure, toot your own horn as much as you want. I don't know how I
No,
feel about that.
my issue with highest to lowest is much more fundamental. My issue with
Sure,
highest to lowest it is also recontextualizing from the shoe company to now the music
music
company.
company,
And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you are making it a music mogul. So David King is essentially Dr. Dre. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, whatever, man.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly he isn't, but
Mm-hmm.
he is. It's essentially a character arc where the David King character has to go low to essentially understand what is real life motivation is. And while that scenario in high and low was a form of comeuppance, here it's like a character arc. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
But what is the
really?
arc that he just learns that he wants to make music again?
He's the best years in the business, don't you know? It's
Yeah,
not as if that he has repeated that at least 50 times in the movie.
that's the meta. I mean, I was like, this is so Spike Lee doing, like, painting himself as like this David King like persona, not just because of the music, not because of the music, but because of the
Because those Basquiat paintings in David King's
yeah.
house ain't enough. Like, yeah,
So I mean,
it's
the meta text is there clearly. So, but it is just very self-aggrandizing by the end in a way. I was like, don't do that. I was just like, just don't, like, give him some comeuppance, please.
I think one of the more pissing off point is the fact that you don't have anything new to say about music.
I think have
You
you
you you
seen?
you are essentially telling me what every old guy
Hmm,
ranting at the clouds is saying about online music and streaming culture and what music is currently about. You are essentially doing what every other old
which
guy is
is
saying. It's
what
the
the
same
kids aren't
goddamn
all
thing.
right.
The kids aren't all right, or the
Yeah,
kids are all right, but we have to get
we
down to
are
their
more
level.
right.
Thanks, Spike.
Okay.
We are more right. Thanks, Spike. We know. Thank you. There is a conversation scene between Denzel Washington and his son
Yes.
in their room where
Again,
Denzel
can I just
Washington
say
essentially
oddly shot in a very wide
oddly
shot where
short.
I was like, it's. I thought Denzel Washington in general was essentially the force that carried a lot of the film. So I thought he was giving a terrific, and I think one of the good things about his
He is
performance
giving
is
a
that
terrific.
I think he's unsympathetic. He doesn't portray himself like a victim or
No.
anything. I think he's
Yeah.
supremely
Yeah. Yeah.
unsympathetic, and I was like, that is exactly what's driving the film's
this
film
is
for
this
me.
is the other thing that this is the other thing that this movie takes from the book,
Hmm.
which is why the movie that David King is unsympathetic, which is why the movie driving home the point that you have to be sympathetic to this guy's
Not sympathetic.
unflinchingly
You should
forceful.
sing. You should sing with him
You should
about his
sing his
successes.
praises
I'm like,
about his success because he has the best years in the business, so bring home the
do I have to
choir.
put the clip of him saying this again and again whenever you say
Yes.
it?
Yes. He has the
uh,
best years in the business. I'm like, okay, man, whatever you say, man. Because it's like, how many times are you going to repeat it? I understand. And this is coming out in the same year where a black filmmaker actually makes a movie
hmm,
dealing with music, but
hmm,
uses that music, exploration of music into its own history and makes a commentary while also trying to make a genre movie. It's
yeah,
debatable whether all of it works or not, but
yeah,
Sinners
yeah,
is
yeah.
far better.
Oh, of course,
Just
I
putting it out
agree.
there.
No, absolutely, and I
Yes.
think I mean, again, I mean, we'll get to the two positives, the two big positives we have, I think.
Massive
But
positive, which is the
yeah,
reason why we have it a 3 out
and
of
well,
5, because those are
the
massive
third
positives.
biggest positive is Denzel Washington, of course. But like he's great.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
Jeffrey Wright is generally very good in this. I think he's not.
Generally very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
no, but I was saying. Oh yeah, the first hour of this is like if we've consistently said high and low should be thrown on the screen to see how blocking works and how blocking is done well. I don't know if this is like
Highest to
an,
lowest should be thrown. Highest to lowest should be thrown at film school just to tell people this is not how you should score a movie. This
or
is
even edit
really
it.
not
I
a,
was just like,
or even
like
edit a
the
movie.
sense of space. I was just, my mind went a bit, my mind went numb after one. I was like, stop with these cuts, stop with like this. There is no continuity, there is no like anything, and I'm just like, if this is a conscious stylistic choice,
Are
it
not even a
absolutely does
cut.
not work.
It's like one scene is ending and then 2 seconds of the previous scene is repeating again and
Oh,
then
that he,
leap over
that's
into the
apparent,
new
that's a
scene.
stylistic tick.
That's a
So,
thing. That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
Spike Lee thing. And
What
I'm
is the
like, this is
significance of
driving
that
me up the
thing? I
wall.
don't know. What is the significance? I
Uh,
don't. It just is, and I'm like,
This
okay,
this
I
just
mean,
drives me up the wall. I'm like, क्यों कर रहा है?
just
Why?
it looks cool. That's why. No, I think
It
more than this.
doesn't.
For to him, it looks cool. No? And he's
Yeah.
always right. So do the right thing, I
They
guess.
do the right thing. Yes.
Yeah. No, no. See, I don't want to like harpoon about this, but yeah, the first hour. I was like, I cannot believe professional critics have been this kind to this film. I was like, this is really badly directed at times, and I was just like, this is not
Yeah.
good. And then that section
And
happened. Then that scene happens, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. This is where everything is coming in.
the
The
exchange,
exchange
especially
happens,
the
and
exchange.
everything which is a problem, I think, from his filmmaking before that becomes a strength.
Becomes a feature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's allowed free reign.
Even the part wherein the train people are shouting Boston sucks. I'm
Oh
like,
God,
okay.
I was like, fine, I get it, Spike, it's fine.
I'm
It's
like,
okay. I
okay.
mean, see, that sort of style within the context of that, which is essentially what you were saying, right? That high and low
City
becomes a city
Symphony?
symphony. This becomes
Yes.
briefly a city symphony. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm shocked that a film as a city as vertical as New York doesn't
Yes.
feel, you don't, at least I didn't feel the verticality of the division in it. When
New
we
York.
there's one scene of the our antagonist looking at the building, and the building's out of focus from down below, and it's low angle. I'm like, this has none of the zing or like the sting of our antagonist in high and low looking from his window outside and looking at the
Or
towers.
from a
And I'm,
telephone booth. Or from a
yeah,
telephone booth.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like hovering over there, right? Here it just does. It feels
Yeah.
anonymous. I was just like, where is the high and low of
There's
it?
also the fact that Kurosawa shoots it in such a fashion that the clouds are essentially
Yeah,
covering that building overall.
yeah,
It's like it's so unattainable.
yeah,
The
yeah,
anger of the antagonist somehow becomes even more heightened due to the fact
yeah,
that it is so unattainable.
yeah, yeah,
यहाँ पे
exactly.
तो
Here that, but I'm surprised, right? Because I mean, the whole idea is that Spike Lee is a visualist, a visual stylist, and he's
the
done great
opening
stuff.
section of the movie,
Mm.
not the part, the
Credits,
opening
you mean?
credit section of the movie, the
That's
camera
interesting. Yeah,
hovering
yeah,
over New York in a way.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, this is really good.
yeah.
This is legitimately good.
And
I'm
then the
like,
opening
I'm in
conversation
for this.
happens.
And I'm like, oh boy.
I think even the first
Oh
scene when
boy.
Denzel Washington's talking, it's shot from these extreme wide angles. And I'm like why? Like why? Like it looks distinctive, but it it like
It
actively
does nothing.
diminishes the drama. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
It
that's
does
why
nothing. Yeah.
I asked you on text, like, would this film be better if the script was shitty? Like, shittier, let's just say, because I think there is some
Again,
hokey
it's
stuff in this.
auteurism ka flamboyance I think helps if the script is shitty because the director is doing much more of the heavy lifting in a
No,
way.
but clearly, I think the strength of Spike Lee lies when the film is allowed to freestyle and when it's moving, right? Because it's moving when it's
Huh.
moving into that metro like the sorry train section essentially. He gets to pull out all the punches. He's
All the
doing a
punches, yeah.
great city symphony, and he's doing a very anti-white, Make America White Again symphony, because he's
Make a
essentially
megabyte. Yeah, yeah.
colliding. What all is it? Is it the
Every Eddie Palmieri and the Salsa Orchestra, the late
yes?
great Eddie Palmieri, who
Yeah.
died 3 days before the premiere of this
Oh,
movie in New York.
okay. Yeah.
So the late great Eddie
The Puerto
Palmieri, really great music
Rican
work. Yeah,
parade
yeah, Puerto
essentially
Rican
is
parade.
intersecting with the Yankees game. So a lot of
Yeah.
Boston swearing, uh,
Boston sucks. Yeah.
Boston
Yeah.
sucks
Boston sucks.
directly to the camera,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And
We don't have any dog in this fight, by the way. We don't care either
yes,
way.
yeah. If
We
I
don't
cared
care
about
either.
American sport, I would have said anything, but I have no. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
for you. You hit Boston. I would love to be in a
Uh,
Boston cinema hall and see how this plays. But anyways,
how that worked out. Yeah.
I'm sure New Yorkers would love it, but I don't know what the
Yeah, yeah.
Bostonites.
Mm,
Sorry. But yeah, that
mm.
scene is terrific, and I think I don't know how much you can. And then that other scene is terrific, which is the impromptu rap battle, which apparently wasn't scripted, and it happened literally
It
just
wasn't
impromptu.
scripted. It was literally Denzel Washington literally like spouting of Nas's represent track, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah, that
you
so
can
and again
rap.
the editing and the way the film moves there, I think is really terrific. Like I think it's controlled.
Yeah.
It's like when it needs to switch focus to which character is great. And I'm like, and then you have like these three endings after that, and I'm like, what do I make of these
One
three
of the
endings?
one of the most quote unquote cringy moments I had with this movie, which every other person who likes this movie says, "Oh my God, we are so back." He's in the car sitting. James Brown's playback starts playing, and
Yeah.
he's doing shadow boxing. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? What is this?
It's style, sir.
Shadow
I think
boxing?"
I kind of understand why people like this sort of unruly style. For me, the only issue is that it almost always actively detracts from the emotion. Like I feel, have you seen? Because I know this is one of Spike Lee's lesser known works and also lesser received works initially, at least. It's called Bamboozled, but it's
No, no, we need to
extremely
see it.
extremely corrosive and critical of
Yeah.
modern African American representation, essentially, in media.
Yeah, in
And
media, yes, yes, yes.
unlike sort of this,
Which is one of the films that American Fiction. Remember that movie?
yes, I do.
American
Yes,
Fiction.
yes, 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 yes. I don't. I only remember Jeffrey Wright in that movie. I don't remember anything about that movie otherwise.
Yeah,
But no, but Bamboozled, which
American
is why
Fiction was very unfavorably compared to Spike Lee's Bamboozle, which is far
was
more
it?
critical
Oh
and
yeah,
stylish.
I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. Because Bamboozled,
yes,
I think I also said this because I had seen Bamboozled as part of
yes.
like essentially because I did a course. Well, did my masters in NYU, so it's mandated that we watch Spike Lee films. So I've watched about
Hmm.
four of them as part of the course.
So technically speaking, Dhruv has every right to essentially say Boston sucks. The fact that he isn't saying it means
I
that
mean,
he
I don't
doesn't
care
care
about
in the first
American
place.
football, so I never got.
Or
Yeah,
basketball.
and
Or
I'm saying
basketball,
American
yes.
football because only Americans call it football. But anyways, yeah, I don't care about American sports. Sorry, but
Mm.
I don't have as much love for New York as Spike has. So again, sorry, but
Yes.
but the whole point is that
And my
bamboo.
only love for Americans is with their movies. I don't
Yeah,
care
I
about
think
quote
that's
unquote the
pretty
people in
clear
general.
by now. I think,
Yes.
but no, I think my point is that what was I saying? Um,
Bamboozled.
Bamboozled
Yeah.
doesn't have a moralizing protagonist
Yes.
at the center of it. What it is just scorchingly critical about how minstrelsy has essentially been refashioned to like commodified television, and I'm like, this is
Yes.
like awful like it's like provocative, very
What the movie is doing is
acidic.
great, but what it is telling you is awful. What it is telling you, what is
It's
happening
telling
in
it very
reality is
well though.
awful.
Like it's acidic. It's
Yes.
very corrosive. It's like the sort of uncomfortable comedy which I think people will be very cautious about making today because they'll be like, oh, who will be offended and all that. This just this you only said this feels like some an uncle essentially being
Yeah, an
upset with
uncle
the
looking,
children.
roading, upset with the children. The kids are
I'm like,
not alright. I'm like, cool, man. I'm like, cool, man.
I'm like, why? Like, what? What else? Like, come on. Like, there must be something else to your persona. Like, there has to be. Like, if it is about black upward mobility being a very tricky position to be in, What is
Yes.
tricky about our protagonist? Like he does, at the end of the day, he comes out scot free
And
of everything.
quote unquote black upward mobility isn't as much different as any other upward mobility in a
Yeah,
way, at least in this in this scenario.
yeah,
Because again, unlike many Spike Lee movies, this movie weirdly feels restrained.
yeah, sure, yeah, yeah.
Weirdly.
Mhm.
It's like he's like pulling back. I'm like, why? Like, do something. You are Spike Lee. You are supposed to be abrasive. Just be abrasive. What are you
I
doing?
mean, you saw the last scene. That is abrasive. Not the last scene. Sorry, there are three
Which
last
last
scenes in
scene?
this.
There are three last scenes. Which last scene?
The film should have literally just ended on one of the ASAP Rocky versus that rap battle is the last scene. I don't get why there's like another scene to it. But yeah, no,
Extended
no, no.
20 minutes.
No, when it
Yeah.
basically becomes high and low for 2 minutes, where he's lecturing
Ah.
him, and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
shot in this way, which is very flashy, and it's doing the intercutting back and forth,
The cutting, and then the camera, and then the basically the cell moves forward
moves to
in the
forward.
forward in
Yes, and
that,
I'm like, yeah, it's cool,
which
but
feels
but
very much like, oh my god, this Dhruv is going to look at this and say, oh my god, somebody saw Uncle Paul ka movie and they are like, they want to
but he
make it
doesn't
more.
end in the present. Uncle Paul loves this
Yes,
movie, by the way. So
of course he does.
you know the target audience of this essentially. He said it's on par with Akira Kurosawa. I'm like, okay, sure, Uncle Paul.
Uncle Paul. For people who have no idea who we are talking about Paul Schrader.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
We are
very
talking about
uncle
Paul
movie,
Schrader.
I think, in general, I guess, in a way. So
It's a
it does.
very, very uncle movie. And considering Denzel Washington's overall views about a lot of
Yeah.
things, it's very uncle. Especially
Hmm.
that section where he has a conversation with his son, and he's
Yeah.
like, you don't talk with your father like that. I'm like, ये
Hmm.
fences का डेंजल वॉशिंगटन कहाँ से आ गया in high and low? ये कहाँ से आ गया भाई?
Yeah. I mean, it's okay.
Again, Denzel Washington.
Hmm.
I have no words to say about this guy, literally,
Yeah,
because I
he's
don't know what else
phenomenal.
to say about this guy.
Hmm.
He's brilliant. I have no
Yeah.
idea what to say about this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
insanely good
I
stuff.
mean, again, it's very
Like,
hard to pull off this sort of character who's like, who plays unsympathetic very much upfront. Like he doesn't plead or like, even nudge you towards sympathy. I like how committed he is to playing this as abrasively and unsympathetically. I just wish the film had the edge to like scrape through his personality more. Like it just very easily like, slots him as the hero. And I'm just like, just doesn't sit right in this sort of film. Why even make a moral thriller then? Just make a political campaign. Like, it's one of those
yeah.
things. I'm like, why even what's the moral dilemma? Really? What is the moral dilemma? Because when I was
There is
watching the
no
first
moral dilemma. It's a character arc. It's a character arc of a music mogul who realizes,
I
oh
think
my
that
god, I do not like being in the business. I want to discover music. I'm
so
like,
you
you could
did
have
you
done that in
decide to
an
work with
email.
A24. A24 is
Yeah.
also the room
House का
number.
name.
And I'm like,
रूम नंबर, नॉट इवन द रूम नंबर, आई एम प्रीटी श्योर वो डेंजल वॉशिंगटन का हाउस का नंबर भी A24 ही है, if
oh,
I'm
okay,
not
okay. Was
mistaken.
it? Okay, fine.
एक बार
Then
चेक
then
कर
then
लेना.
there's
हाँ.
that. Anyways, I was like, is there some meta commentary about A24? I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm just tired.
And I'm
And
like,
I'm like,
no, my literal reaction is, if the entire point of this movie is a character arc where a music mogul realizes, oh my god, I should get back to making music rather than dealing with music. I'm like, you could have done that in an email. You did not
listen,
need Spike
we
Lee and Denzel Washington for this.
we got two sequences which I think will be talked about. So I guess nothing is lost. It's not like it tarnishes high and low or anything. I think it's perfectly,
And as for the praises for ASAP Rocky, first of all, ASAP Rocky is not in the movie for that long. Number one.
I think he
Number two,
suffers because he's opposite Denzel. But yeah,
he's opposite Denzel. If I compare that, even he is fine,
yeah.
which is more than I can say for a lot of musicians turned actors. So
Yeah,
good
he
for him,
plays
I
young
suppose.
felon in this. Yeah, and I
He
think
plays young fella.
I think what's the other movie which yeah, Eddington had this where I was just like, थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही नहीं है antagonism towards like this type
Young
of
people.
youth. I'm like, ठीक है ना, like they are misguided. That doesn't mean you need to be this cruel to them. I'm like,
They're
it's
not
fine.
even. They're no. I think misguided is the wrong word. They're energetic. They want to
Yeah,
be. They want to protest. They want to make their voices heard.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, this
इससे आप लोगों को इतना गुस्सा आ रहा है तो हम क्या करें भाई?
if you take this movie from the perspective of the young felon, you have King of Comedy, which I think is mad. Like that movie
That is
is,
actually true.
yeah. So
That is actually true.
you or fan. I would say fan is more thorny than
Which
this.
fan? Tony Scott का
No, no,
fan
no,
या
no.
Panish Sharma
You
का
know
fan? Which
which
fan?
when I say fan, Amartya, which fan would I mean? Come on, you know me. It's this
I would
much
have,
you
I
know me
would have
now.
I would have looked at you with more respect if you said Tony Scott का fan. I would have waited.
You know
Damn.
which fan I'm going to mention here. No, no, no. But
Yes.
my point is that I'm like, ठीक है. Like again, I didn't find it like a deal breaker, but I was just like, थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही. They have too much. I think you mentioned this narcissism. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little too much. I'm like, I like my filmmakers who are very
No,
self
it's like
introspective.
interior. No, it's a very typical thing. कि,
Mm.
High and Low was about essentially. I think I also understand what the problem is. The problem is
Mm-hmm.
High and Low essentially shows the police as being capable enough to investigate a case and work towards a conclusion.
Yeah,
ये अब NYPD को ऐसे दिखाएंगे तो ये people will dismiss immediately and call it a fantasy.
yeah.
So yeah, if they show it like that, that would be called a fantasy. So I can understand what
Mm-hmm.
Spike is trying to do, but again,
Mm-hmm.
to make that and make it like an intimate character study of one specific guy, I'm like, okay, but you need to give me more than that. You need to give me something more interesting than that.
Yeah.
Especially when you are dealing with music.
Mm.
I legit felt that when you are dealing with music, you need to have something more substantial to say than just this, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh my god, controversy sells. Artists who are in jail will sell more records than most. Thank you. I knew that since Tupac.
Yeah.
You have something new to say?
Yeah. I mean,
तो
I don't
क्या
even.
है?
I would honestly not even mind that. Do you have anything new to say? If the first half, I mean, honestly, again,
Yeah,
I hate.
literally. Yeah,
I
literally. Me being angry at that is kind of disingenuous if you think about the fact that a lot of movies have nothing new to say, but
yeah.
they still work because they are actually made well.
I was about
This
to
movie ka
say.
first half
Yeah.
is not made well.
Yeah. I was about to say.
This
Ki,
movie's first half is not made well.
I'm like, just give me like, simple genre thrills. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And of course, I'll be a little disappointed because I guess Spike Lee has like that, and there is that genre thrill in that one sequence.
And
Genre
listen,
thrill
and
and
listen,
whatever.
and listen. Spike Lee being a director for hire isn't half a bad thing if you have seen Inside Man. We know
I've
how
not
good of a
seen.
filmmaker
I've
he
heard
is.
it's very good.
It's a really good movie. It's a
Sure.
really good genre thrill movie.
Okay.
It does start
I
with
think
Chaiya Chaiya for
I
some
need to.
weird reason, but sure.
What? Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I really need to
Clive Owen,
rewatch.
Clive Owen doing a monologue, full face camera, Clive Owen doing a
Yeah.
monologue, पीछे music बज रहा है Chaiya Chaiya. I'm like,
Maybe
okay,
this is his.
Spike.
Maybe this is his thing. He likes like that disjunct between music and video. Who do? Anyways,
Yes.
my point is that I've only seen about 4, 5 Spike Lee movies. I need to rewatch Do the Right Thing. I think I watched it at the wrong time and I didn't love it, which is what I have not revealed in any other place other than this, just at the fear of not getting beaten up. And
It's a great movie.
yeah, and the one movie I really liked
Great.
of his was 25th Hour actually, with Ed
I
Norton,
need to
Philip
see
Seymour
that.
Hoffman. It's
I've
really
heard
good.
I've heard
You know
that
the
movie is really good.
the opening sequence of this actually mirrors the opening sequence of that, and that carried
Yeah.
even more weight because that happened post 9/11, and
Most likely.
it's very much a monument in many ways, or like a time capsule of that particular of the towers actually before they fell down. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's interesting.
I
I
need
mean,
to see
again,
that, yeah.
I need to see a bunch of his other work. You said the Five Bloods is very good. The Five Bloods,
The
right?
Five Bloods, the more time passes, the more I'm remembering that movie, the more I want to rewatch that movie. That movie
Sure.
has a lot of stuff to say about
I even like
basically
Black
African Americans.
Klansman. I liked it.
Black
I didn't
Klansman
love
is
it.
really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Black Klansman is really
Yeah.
good.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting. I mean,
Also
again,
has a Washington edit. Also has a Washington edit, just not the
oh,
Washington we
Sanjeet's
wanted.
favorite Washington. You be
Yes.
Tenet guy.
Sanjeet's favorite Washington. The Tenet guy.
I forgot
The
he was in it.
protagonist, he's called. The protagonist, he's called in the
In
movie.
Tenet, not in Black Klansman.
कोई बात नहीं.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Anyway,
anything
doesn't matter.
else, Amartya, on highest? Whatever the procedural stuff, right? Like, I mean, there is no procedure in this, by the way. This is not a
There is no
procedural.
procedure in this because it's not interested in the procedural stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It is
not.
interested in everything else. It's
Yeah,
interested in Washington's own interiority. वो भी नहीं है ज़्यादा.
yeah,
All the interiority that is being shown is done by Washington because it's
yeah.
Washington doing all the heavy lifting with his acting performances. That's it.
Yeah,
Half
by
of
the
the
way,
time,
just
I don't
to,
think
I mean, just
Spike
to
Lee, I don't
mention,
think
this
is even
isn't
directing him per se.
written by Spike Lee. It's written by Alan Fox. It's not written by
Yes.
Spike Lee. So I don't know if that makes a big difference. I don't know. So,
I think it
to
does.
mention that.
I
Yeah,
think it does. I think Spike Lee. I don't think Spike Lee directs Washington that much. Even I think
sure.
Washington does half of the things on his own. I'm like,
Hmm.
he's a great enough actor that he can do whatever
I need to
at this
watch
point.
more Washington stuff. Like in general, I think I have watched his work in patches. I've never like followed it, but he's bloody good. I'm like, I really need to watch more of his stuff.
Wo
He's
Denzel,
a he's a Tony Scott collaborator also. No, he did Deja
Tony Scott
Vu,
collaborator.
Man
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
Fire, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
In the 2000s, Denzel did a lot of quote unquote genre movies or action movies,
sure.
essentially.
I mean,
Okay.
he also did. I was surprised they didn't mention. I think he says something in one of those rap battles where he's like the brutalizer or something. I'm like, I'm surprised you didn't say the equalizer. Come on, if you're in that realm, you have to say that. You
Yeah,
have to
that is
go
true.
that pastiche, that cheesy. It's anyway. So just go there. Why not?
Yeah, essentially. क्या ही बोले और हाईएस्ट टू लोएस्ट के बारे में मतलब कितना
We
ही
didn't
और
hate it, I guess. Even though I
I
think we
guess it's
sounded like it, but yeah, I think it's just
no we didn't hate it.
yeah.
Oh
I think most of the
man.
praises we have to do are actually the ones which everyone has pointed out because they are the most evident. Also, I think in this film, there's no like
Yeah.
it's not like someone has found some hidden meaning in it or something like it. It is what it is, and I'm surprised
Hmm.
a little bit by how positive the reception is, though. A little bit.
I think it's more because it's Spike rather
Sure,
than anything else, to be very
sure,
honest.
sure.
Like
I mean,
look at what his films were before this. Wasn't Black Klansman his last film?
the Five Bloods
I
came
think
after
it
Black
was.
Klansman, I think.
Did
Did
it?
it, no? I
Well, it
think
was
so.
2020. Five Bloods was in 2020. तो फिर उसके बाद 5 years have passed.
Sure.
I think Black Klansman came after that.
Did it? Okay. Then either or.
Yeah, I
That
think
then.
so.
Because I
Yeah,
remember
so
that had that
4 years.
memorable sequence of
Delroy Lindo ka
juxtaposing.
speech.
No, there's this
Which
juxtaposition
one?
of the
Black.
birth of a nation and Ku Klux Klan or
हाँ, Black
something, right?
Klansman ka. हाँ,
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
Klansman
yeah.
ka. हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
Yeah, I remember that. Adam
See, that's what I'm
Driver.
saying. The abrasiveness
Hmm.
and the anger and the strong voice that Lee has from
Hmm.
about a culture through his
Hmm.
protagonist, वो ही तो नहीं है यहाँ पे.
Hmm.
यहाँ पे तो वो भी नहीं है. यहाँ पे it's
Hmm.
just like it's a work for hire with some of
Hmm.
Lee's trademark things kept
Hmm.
intact. But again, it's like if somebody, I really need to watch his Old Boy to understand, remember how much I hate that movie for a minute. But
I will
ठीक
not
है.
be doing that. I have had enough damage done to me already about that movie. So,
जिंदा भी तो है.
Mm. I can't even listen to the song which I really like from Lotera, which is called Zinda, because of that stupid movie. Uh, Anyways,
Zinda, how to remake a Korean movie into an Indian movie and not lose its Indianness? Oh, don't worry, just set it in Korea.
oh, is it set in Korea? I've forgotten. Why
Zinda,
the
yeah.
why the hell would you set it in Korea? Oh God. Never mind. Listen, we all have permanently bad memories etched into our minds. That is one of it, and I have repeated it several times, but I will. I watched that film before, Old Boy, so it will be a scar. Okay. Uh,
I don't think you can blame anybody for that. And none of those movies were of access to us when we started
I
watching
know.
movies. For
Yeah,
us,
but then
movies
don't
were Hindi
make
movies.
them, Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Make stuff original.
Sanjay Gupta, I think was an assistant director to one director जिसने बनाया हिंदी रीमेक ऑफ हाई एंड लो जो आज मैं रात को देखूंगा बिकॉज आई जस्ट लर्न टुडे कि इनकार एग्जिस्ट सो आई
Not
वांट
the
टू सी
Sudhir
दैट
Mishra
कि
in car, by the way, just to,
yeah,
clarify that.
clarify the
Yeah, this is
1977 Raj Sippy directed movie Inkar. I need to see that movie just to complete this trifecta. And before anybody comes into the comment section and say Inkar was made, yes, I know, I'm saying it right now, and no, I haven't seen it. Thank you.
neither have
So
I, by the way. And I have no
yes,
interest in seeing it also. So Amartya will
yes,
do the
there you go.
due diligence in that.
Due diligence.
Uh,
Yes, yes.
yes. But yes, I think that's it. I think for today's episode, we talked plenty about high and low, and highest to
Hmm.
lowest. If
Hmm.
there is other films, which are there any other films like this that are sort of coming, which are, inspired or like remakes of older films? I would love to, like, do this. Is always a nice thing to do whenever something comes out.
Yeah, whenever something comes up, yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there probably
I
will
do
be
need to check that.
some horror slasher remake, which is
No,
pointless
of
because the new
course.
one is going to be absolute garbage, mostly.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah,
Those
no, but
genre sections I'm not even touching at this point.
sir,
But
Halloween
ठीक है
month
भाई.
is coming out. I'm excited. Anyways, uh,
Some would say the new Superman is essentially a remake of Christopher Reeve. To
I
which I
thought
say
some.
no, absolutely not.
I thought you would say some would say Superman is a horror film. I'm like, interesting. That's only for you out there.
No,
I don't
no.
think it's only you don't like it. Everyone else seems to like it.
Yeah.
Everyone who I don't. I've still not seen it, so no idea.
Mm. आप देख सकते हो. You might like it. I don't know, man.
I have
You might
no
just like it.
hurry about watching it. I will delay it as much as possible and then watch it. Just because.
There are there are some movies that have come out this year that have scarred both of us so much that we have stopped watching movies with as frequency as we used to. That's
Yeah, I
the
think it's
bigger problem.
probably for the better only though. I think that's fine. As long as I can
Yes, yes, yes.
occasionally sneak in a high and low, I think I'm all fine. So
Mm. See, the problem with watching a Kurosawa is every time I do shit like this, I'm like, now I want to watch Japanese movies only. And I'm like, that is single handedly not always possible.
I know. Expectations become a bit of an issue then, yeah. But anyways, I think
Yes.
watching classics and liking them, I mean, we can also not like them. That also happens time to time. But yeah, they are classics for a reason. Wreck all that stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode. You can follow us on Instagram and where
That
else?
Queen is dead.
Twitter. Yeah, at Queen is
It-
Dead. And you're at Amartya25, right?
Yes, Instagram.
Yeah,
At Terminal Cinema for Dhruv,
yeah,
if people
Instagram.
want to follow.
Yes.
If people want to follow, that is.
Yeah.
And we all have our letterboxd. Please do follow us on
We'll put all
letterboxd.
that in the description, of course. Yeah.
We do post some interesting reviews on letterboxd, for
Mm-hmm.
people to read if people want to read. that
Mm-hmm.
is that is another big question.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, especially if this thing comes out on video, like, share, subscribe the channel. i
Yes.
really i really can't stress this enough. If you like the video, people will actually be recommended the video. That is one big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And do comment, good, bad, whatever. Do comment on
हाँ
the fact that
गाली
I
दो
haven't
मजे
watched
मजे में.
Inkar.
Mm-hmm.
गाली दो मजे मजे में, कोई इशू नहीं है, गाली दो. नो इशू. डू कमेंट ऑन द फैक्ट कि मैं अंग्रेजी बोल रहा हूँ, मैं बंगाली में नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ, इसका भी गाली दो, कोई इशू नहीं है. আমি বাংলায় কথা বলবো না. There you go. I'm not going to say that so much Bengali, so you get the idea. Uh, I'm
Anyways, I think
comfortable
that's.
with what I want to speak about anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So.
anyway, this was the genre literacy episode, which shouldn't have been a genre literacy episode, but it is. I
Mm-hmm.
do plan, because this is a
Mm-hmm.
channel, because this is a channel thing also. I'm planning ki I'm not going to do the traditional reviews that much. I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
more of this stuff, basically
Sure.
podcasting stuff. So
Mm.
that's the plan. Let's see how much it actually pans out.
Sure.
But at least it would give me the space to not be so,
I mean,
so
it'll
much
give you.
worried about every
Yeah.
week, every
And
week,
you won't have to
every
watch
week.
everything, which is the other thing.
Exactly, which is the other thing.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I understand people will say, oh my god, you're film reviewers, film critics, why aren't you watching everything? because I can.
Yeah, पैसे
People
मिल रहे
forget
होते
that
तो
we are
देख
also
लेते हम
human
लोग.
beings.
अगर,
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
I mean, if ऐसी, like, again, there's no compulsion to watch everything, right? So,
Yeah,
especially when
पैसे मिलता तो जरूर देख लेते ना.
also
हाँ.
earlier we didn't have access to this much film in general. Like, if there is so much available to watch, why would you watch what is literally
Mm.
the
Mm.
shittiest thing coming out, right?
Garbagiest stuff to come out, and especially considering I live in a place where literally nothing comes out, so I'm like, what's the
Hmm.
point of jumping forward or jumping through hoops to ask people for a screener to get rejection, and then you're like, क्यों इतना काम कर रहा है.
Mhm.
रुको, आ जाएगा कभी ना कभी, तो आ ही जाएगा, तब देख
Yeah.
लेंगे. So
Yeah.
fine
Incoming
man.
review from Amartya, of course, on the Bengal Files very soon.
No, 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 no. That is one movie I'm not going to review because that is one movie I'm not going to watch. I
So
haven't watched any movie from that director. So I am not in any hurry,
you
literally.
not watched Dhan Dhanadhan Goal?
No, actually, no.
Okay. On that note, I think we'll call it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
my camera has died,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
that's
think
why I
this is the
said.
perfect time.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the
Thank you so
perfect time. Yeah, yeah,
much
yeah.
and khatam.